Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We're marching on, trying to do the bunting. That's the Lazuli bunting. And what we did on the last go around is I showed you how to cut the blank out so that you have the head turn and the body and so on. We chamfered the edges. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how we start shaping it. Okay, we're going to round this off and get the squareness out, and I'll show you how to do that. And also show you, I'll have the pattern here available so that you could see exactly what I've done. And it is to scale, so we try to keep everything to scale to the pattern. So we're going to keep on marching on that direction. Now, for those who want to make their own, you can get my pattern, or if you don't have the facilities to cut one out, I do have the kits available. They come with the blank, the pattern, the feet, and the eyes, everything that you need to get going. And then it's all you with your equipment, and I'm doing power carving, so that's the main crux of it. And you can use a lot of different tools. I have Fordhams, I have the micro grinders, there's Dremels. You can get away with a lot of different items to get you there. So don't feel as though you're hampered. And you can still use a knife to some extent. I'm doing it in power, but you can, if you're a whittler, you can still come up with the same thing. It's just you're doing it by knife, and it's a little more tedious, but it can be done. I taught for maybe 15, 20 years with the knife, and then I went to power, and I never looked back. And so, yeah, it's excuse me, I got something floating around here. Yeah, the knife is, it was a relaxing thing I found, but then when I went to power, it just allowed me to do so much more. So I've never looked back, and I really like the power end of it most of all. So if anybody needs a kit or needs equipment, or if you need the eyes, the feet, or the pattern, any one of them you can get from me separately, and that's available. I also have I have the equipment I use, I sell that. I also sell the bits and so on. So what I'll try to do with the videos is to guide you along with showing you how to do it with the different bits and what have you. And, some of the bits, they're a little bit expensive, not all of them. And then there's other ones you can get around. You'll see as I go along here, I'm going to use a Fordham to get some of the excess off. And that is a nice machine to use. But if you have a Dremel and you're trying to do with what you have, you could still do that. They're smaller bits, which will fit into the Dremel, which will do the exact same thing. So I'm going to just guide you to what I like to do anyway. And I've taught with Fordhams in the beginning to just rough out things and stuff like that. And then after that, in fact, I detailed everything with a Fordham at one time until the micro grinders came along. And that's like holding a pencil in your hand. And that is so much more convenient. So it's what you have. I always say, work with what you have. And then if you feel that you want to go all the way with it and get invested into it, like any hobby, you tend to spend a little bit of money anyway. So, but you got to find out if that's your interest or not, So I'll try to guide you where I can on that. But if you do need anything, definitely contact me for my catalog. It doesn't have everything I carry, but it has about 6 pages, and it has quite a bit in it. And if you need anything else, I have books and everything else, but I don't list everything in there. But if you want to discuss some things or what have you, I could guide you. At least I'm going to try to put you onto what I think is the best for the money and what's a real good book and what is so. Okay, there's a lot of people published a lot of stuff over the years, and I really came down to even when I was selling, I tried to just get what I thought was the best, and then I had no trouble selling it because it was just that. Most of the time, people were into almost knowing, getting some knowledge into what was good and what wasn't. So if you need any of this, definitely contact me. You can get my catalog through I can send it through the email. My email address is Rauscher, Rauscher, Frank, Frank, 7 @gmail.com. And I can get this catalog out to you, and either you can call me or you can email me and we can discuss it, and I'll try to guide you to what I think is the best thing for your money, as well as what will do the job for you, okay? Because you don't always need everything, but I'll do that where I can. So what I'm going to do is bring the camera down. We will pursue on and start marking out the blank so that you can follow along, and I'll show you how we shape it and everything else, okay? So bear with me, and we'll take you on to the next step. Okay, here's what we want to do. We got the blank. I'm going to ask you to get a pencil and a ruler. And what I'm going to ask you to do, and by the way, for those who are following along, when I cut this out, if you lay this right onto the pattern, you can see the outline is right there, okay? And then that's for the profile view. And then on the top view, if you lay this like this should fall straight down onto the top view, okay? So this has other dimensions, but right now we don't need that as much as we do marking out the center line. So what we're going to do is establish a center line through the body and a center line through the head. So I'm going to ask you to come down to the bottom of the tail here and measure across. Now, everyone's going to be a little different, but in most cases, they're probably going to be pretty close. This is measuring 1 1/8 inches, and I'm going to ask you to come and find the center of that and put a dot right there, okay? And that'll be the center here. Now, I'm going to ask you to come up through the width, and the width over here, I never go out to the end because these ends on these rulers get worn a little bit, so I usually come in and start with the inch mark, and I look straight down from here down to over here is about, let's see, you have 1 and let's see, looks like 1 7/8 inches. Just about. So I'm going to come in, half is for the 1 inch, and the 7/8. I'm going to go 7/16. So it's a half plus 7/16. The overall is 13/16 to here, and it should be 13/16 from here to here. Okay. Now I'm going to lay my ruler between the dot and the line down below and draw a straight line straight up. Okay, just like that. Okay, now you got a straight line up. Now, you have a wedge here. You can see that most of the time, I'm going to just lightly mark this up so that maybe you can see the edge a little bit better. You got a pencil edge there, and you got a pencil edge right here. And this is like a wedge in here. And the beak is going out that way. So you know the tip of the beak, that's going to be right in the middle of the wedge right here. That's a given. Now I'm going to ask you to come up on the wedge and find out as you come up. Let's see if I could do this without trying to hold that tail down. I'm going to measure up to where I have from this side to that side 3/4 of an inch. Let's see if I could do this. I'm going to do it on an angle here, but I'm going to do it this way. From this edge to this edge, I want to try to get 3/4 of an inch. So I have the ruler out at this edge, and I have it right at that edge, and that's 3/4 going across. I'll find the midpoint, which is 3/8, and put a dot. Now, this dot plus that dot, I'll draw a straight line back, and that'll be the direction what would be we call the center line of the head. So here we go. I'm going to try to hold this. I'm going to move my sheet out of here because this rubber mat, I told you can get this at a dollar store. This is like shelving material, but it acts like it doesn't go sliding all over the place, you know, especially on a slippery table or something, and it helps you to go steady. Now, I'm going to lay this ruler on that slope where you got the dot down below and the dot above, and I'm going to get that straight line right up through that dot and come straight back. Okay, here's the other one going this way, and this comes back to there. So now you have a center line of the head, and you have a center line of the body. Now, what I'm going to ask you also to do is to transfer this center line straight down, and it should give you, when you bring it around the corner here, now you have the same center line like cut through. Now I'm going to come up here like we did before and measure the width of the body, which we said was almost 1 7/8. So I'm going to come in here 13/16 and put a dot. Now I'm going to lay. Now, if you have a flexible ruler, let's see if I have one floating around here. I usually do. Yeah. And what I mean by a flexible one, my white one doesn't bend as easy, but if you have something like this, it's real flexible. I could lay this like this. And if you don't, you could do it partially. You know, you can go from here to here down and then continue the straight line. So even with a hard ruler, you could do it. But I'm going to hold this in here. So I got a dot here and a dot on the edge here. And I'm going to draw my straight line. So I should have a line that's cutting right through that whole thing there. Okay, so I got a center line here. I don't need, not worried about the center line of the head coming through yet. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to try rounding this over. So I want to show you how I achieve that, but I'm going to give you some boundaries too. Now, the width of this bird is pretty much set. We have that, okay? That is what it's going to be. We may skim a little bit off, but very little. In the same way in profile, from the top of the back here to the belly, that thickness is pretty much established. So for what we're trying to achieve on the size of this bird, we have that. We will take a little bit off on each end, but hardly that much to worry about. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, I'm going to do this, not that you need to do it, but I want you to see it. Let me get a regular pencil here rather than a mechanical pencil. And I'm going to show you these chamfered edges that I usually put in on mine. And I want you don't need to do this, but what I want to do is I want to roll this around. It doesn't have to be like a ball, but I'm going to show you how I approach this. Now, I'm going to ask you between here and here, find about the midpoint, or you can eyeball it, and draw a line like this, which is about halfway from here to here and here to there. That would be pretty good. And then do the same thing on the other side. You're coming through here, and from here to the center and here to the center is about halfway, okay? It doesn't have to be so precise, but at least be in the ballpark. And in the same way, we're going to mark these out so you can see them, but you don't need to do this because you can see it on your piece already. Now, to round this over, I'm going to do this way. I'm going to come out here between here and here and put a pencil mark. And it's just the midpoint between whatever you have on this edge to this edge. Just eyeball it. Then you're going to go from this edge to this edge and find the midpoint, and you have another line. And we're going to do the same thing again. You got this wedge to this wedge. You're going from here to here. You can put another reference line, and then you also have it from here to here, and that's what's covering it. We're going to try to roll these lines, and we're using these individual lines that we just added in here to show you how we're rolling this. Now, there's going to be a couple things that I should, let's see if I have, I don't know if I have another blank out. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to get something else here and be right back. All right, we're back again. I got my act together here. What I'm going to ask you to do is measure from the tail up using the slope of the tail. I want you to come through the throat here, right through here. And if you measure from the tail up, from here up, 4 inches from here all the way up to here, and it's between what I call the neck here, I'm going to ask you to put a line just through here, okay? And of course, when we start rounding this over, I want you to come in here a little bit, but I don't want you coming on to the front of this face. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to measure 4 inches up from the tail, about midway through the throat, and that'll be right about here. We'll go into this a little bit, but not that much. I just want you to put a line there. So it's from here to here, it's about 4 inches. Okay, the same way here to here. Now, what I'm going to use, I'm going to be making some noise here, and I'm using the Fordham with this is a typhoon burr, This is a tungsten carbide burr, and I call it a hogging bit. It takes a lot of wood off real fast. And what I'm going to do, because I don't have my dust collector on, I'm going to wear a dust mask. So I recommend that to anybody. If you don't have a collection type, get a dust mask of a sort and wear these, okay? Because you don't want to suck up the dust. It's not a good thing for you. If you have a dust collector, that'd be great. I have a system throughout on my table here that for everybody that had a spot on the table, there was a vacuum system underneath that collected it. So that's a good thing. If you don't have it, then you wear a dust collector and then get a brush and brush things off after you're done, and make sure you have the mask on too, okay? Now, I'm going to turn on the Fordham. The Fordham, let's see if I can drag this over. The Fordham looks like a machine like this, and it's got a on-off button. It's got a forward and reverse and so on. And it's a flexible shaft. It's a long shaft. I'm going to operate this one. A lot of times people hang this, and I'm just laying this on the table right now. And once it gets started, I'm going to try to talk over it. I hope you can hear me, and I'm going to try to explain what I'm trying to achieve here, as well as with the mask on too. Okay, so I want you to be safe in the whole bit. The nice part about the dust mask is they have wire up in here, so it fits right around your nose. So I'm going to put that on, get that covered, and then I'm going to start in by making what I call a dust mess. So bear with me here. Here we go. I'm going to turn this baby on. Now, the other thing I wanted to explain to you too is, for those who don't have a Fordham like this has a 1/4-inch shaft. For those who have a smaller, like a Dremel makes these, I mean, not Dremel, but this will fit into your Dremel, and this is the same thing except it's miniaturized, and we could do the same thing with this. But this is a real nice size, and I'll show you later what I mean by that when we go to mark this out some more, okay? So, but you can get a smaller version of this and put it in your Dremel or even your micro grinder and do it the same way. So just wanted to let you know there's other options, but here we go on the Fordham, okay? Okay, I'm going to come in and I'm doing a back and forth motion on this one line, this one chamfer. So I'm going to go back and forth. Sorry about the noise. That's just the nature of it. And I'm going to roll this till I get to that line. So I'm coming upward here. Okay, and I reach that line. Now, I'm going to take this up and skim it to the center line. I'm still rolling this. And I had that line in there. I'm going to come past it just a little bit, okay? Now, we had this edge in here, and we're going to here. So I'm rounding this over. So I'm rolling this down to the middle of the body. And we want to get a nice rollover. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cut down here and we'll do the bottom one. I'm going to go for this edge first. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to knock that edge down. sort of flatten it and then roll it up to that line and then skim it to the center line. The center line will sort of disappear a little bit, but that note said you just got enough of it, okay? Now, you got this line here, and we're going to roll that up. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to round that. And I'm trying to get the edges out of here. I'm just going on a back and forth motion. And I haven't come all the way down into the tail yet. Okay? So I'm trying to get all the edges out, the corners, to get it look like it's rolling. Let me just show you. This is at a halfway point here. This, now, here's your center line, and you can almost come back and put it right back in again. I'm trying to get this to roll. It's not a perfect circle, but it's rolling from here to here, and then it's going from here all the way down to what would be the center line below. Okay, so you got this coming all the way down to here. So this is like a rolling. Now, I could see real quick, let me get my pencil because it marks up a little bit better. I look at this and I see some of the shadows that I missed things right in here, and that's fine. And then I could see a little bump right in here that I didn't take enough out. But like I said, you're skimming it up to this line, and you're skimming it up to what was that middle, just taking a little bit off. You're not taking a lot. And then you're rounding this over. Now I could see lines that are still here that I could roll still more, okay? Notice this 4 inches up from the tail, I'm trying to use as a stop, but I will go past that a little bit in a minute here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other side, and I'm doing the same thing. We have a line here, which is half the distance between here and here. I just throw that in there, eyeball it, from here to here, right there, and from here to here, right there, so on, from here to here, right there, here, and here. And we're going to round this over. So bear with me here. I'm going to do the same thing, and I use this back and forth motion. It tends to work for me very well. So I come in like this, knock that chamfer down, and then I come up and I skim it up to the center line. Then I roll this to the next line, sort of getting it to roll over without any edges. Then I get to the center here, and I'm just skimming that to that middle of the body. Then I'm going to come to the bottom here, and knock that edge down. Then skim it to the center line. Okay, and then this edge. Come this way too. And what I'm trying to do is get all the edges out without putting more in, and sort of get it to look rounded. And like I said over here, I come in with and round this over again. I'll look and see what I missed. So I'm trying to, I can still see some squareness in here, so I'll take a little bit more out. I'm going to try to show you this before I get too far afield here. Okay, let me come back again. I'm going to stick this right in there again, the center line. So you can see it. I'm freehanding it, but it's close enough. Now, what I'm trying to do is, if you flip this over and you look down from the tail to see this roll, you want to make it symmetrical about this side and this side. I could see that this still needs to be knocked down a little bit more to make it look the same on both sides. So I'm trying to come in and mark that up. I could see when I rolled things, I didn't take enough out right in here neither. Now, I'm going to do the top as well. I'm going to look down the tail of this line, and I want to see this and this look the same. Now, I'm noticing I got a corner here that I just did not get rid of, and I thought I did. Now, so I mark things up like this to get my eye to see what I need to take out, and I mark it so that you can readily go after it with the hogging bit. Now, maybe and I try to feel for edges if there's any corners and stuff like that. This seems a little rough in here, so I'll just go gently with that one. But where it needs it heavy, I just come in with the lead a little heavier. Now, the other thing I want you to do, and I really haven't mentioned it, is I'm going to come in. This is probably, let's see, if I take a measurement here. I'm trying to remember what the thickness was. It's about 3/16. So about a 1/16 down on the corner here. I'm going to measure down right there. I'm doing it without measuring, but I'm doing this on both sides. And then I'm going to roll this up to the center and then give an arc down to this side. So it looks like this, okay? And you're only down a 1/16. So what I want to do is grind this down. See this edge right here and this edge right here. I want to try to roll this up to the center line so that it has an arc all the way through in this area here. So let me show you how I do that. Here we go. Get ready for the noise. There it comes. This is what I want to do. I'm going to come down here gently because it gets there fast. And once I got that corner out, you almost have the arc starting. I'm going to steam it to the center and come back a little bit. But I ain't taking too much off. You can see I just got to the pencil line. We'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to come down here, put like a 45-degree chamfer, not that deep, just a 1/16 down. So check your dimensions. And if you can get the saw marks out that are in there, that's great too, okay? So you can see I'm almost there, right at the pencil line. Then I'm going to come back here where I thought I missed some of it, and I'm going to roll this around, back and forth, spin this around this way, and do this one that I thought I missed. I am going to come up past that line, that 4-inch line, and just come in just a little bit past it, okay? Not that much. And I'm not going in on the head that much. Okay, as a follow-up to what we were doing here, I'm trying to say to you that you need this rounded off, okay? And the best way to do that is with the hogging bit. And what you want to do is just make sure that everything's rolling nicely, okay? Your center line, which you would put back in after you're all done, should have all the saw marks out of it, but it's going to be flat from about here to here, okay? It's not totally round, and then it starts rolling, okay? So I want to just let you know that. I know that for me, when I run my thumb across here, I still have an edge, so I'll come in lightly and roll that with that hogging bit, okay? This side here seems to roll pretty good, so I feel as though I got that. Now, I did come past that 4-inch mark that we made, which I think was around here. I came a little past that right in here, and I came a little past it right in here, okay? And I'm trying to take this up before you get to the beak where it starts sticking out. This should be rounded, okay, up in here. And when you put your center line back in again at the end here, you should be able to look down the barrel from the tail down, looking up towards the head, and you can get that basic shape rolling. And if it has a nice roll to it, and it's not like a ball, but it's like I said, you could have a little bit of a flat just before the center here, and then it starts rolling, okay? So I want to accomplish that. The other thing I want to reiterate on this is that when we come off of here, we have saw marks, which are these little striations going through. You want to just skim them just a little. Remember, we did come down to 16th from the top, and we have this arc, okay? We still have probably about 1/8 of an inch in there overall. But I need you to at least get this sloping from the center line down, okay? Not only are you knocking chamfering the corners off, but you're rolling them up too, okay? So I want to make sure you get all that, right? Because this will prepare you when we go to do the tail, but we can refine it as we go too. But I want you to be aware of what we're trying to achieve at this point, okay? And you're not really changing that much of the material, both this way and this way when you're done. And you can even see in here, I still have like an edge right here and maybe an edge right here. And I'll go in and I'll soften that lightly. You don't have to be so aggressive with this. The only time you get aggressive is right in here and like in here, because there's a lot of material on this corner that has to be rolled, and this corner right here. This is both sides. So you have a tendency right in here not to take enough out, but don't worry about that. I mean, get it as close as you can. You're going to see we're going to take more out as we go here on the next stage. But I wanted to at least get to this point here so that we have this going for us. Now, I'll lightly go over the spots I put my pencil mark in, and this is what you could do. It'll get you to remind yourself, oh yeah, I need to just soften that lightly. It's not like you got to be aggressive. Now, when you have the smaller bit and not the big hogging bit like I'm using here, you have to make sure you're moving more, because it's not covering, the bigger one will cover more area, and you don't get concentrated in one area. I always go back and forth. I have this, even with the big one, I have the back and forth motion all the time, and I find that works out pretty good. Now, for some of you like to get in there and just do this. Now, if you're steady enough and everything else, but you have a tendency to dig more. So I'm just giving you some of the pitfalls that could occur depending on what you're using, okay? Now, the one thing I didn't concern myself with, let's see, I put my pencil down here, is this area in here, okay? I did not concentrate on anything on the bottom on the tail. We rounded this off, but this area right in here is not finished, and I'm not worried about that, okay? It's this area in here and above. So if you'll see some strata lines from the bandsaw, there's little markings, that'll still be there. Don't worry about that. That does not have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be smooth or nothing. If you can get this much of it out, that's great, okay? And then we'll build from there on the next one. And just for those, I'm going to show you again. I'm going to tilt this so you can see it looking in. This is a real neat looking bird, okay? I picked it for its color and everything else, and it's a southern bird. What I mean by like West Coast bird in the States here. So it's a pretty one. But for buntings, you can do this blank and change it too. You know what I mean? This is a Lazuli bunting, but there's other ones. There's a painted bunting, and there's a few others that you can change it out. And so if you ever happen to do a couple of these where you're working up the blank and so on, you can come up with a couple different species. They're pretty much the same size, okay? So just want to give you an idea on that. And the thing I want you to also, if you got something out of this video, I would ask you if you would please subscribe to my channel, and then also if you could pass this on to your friends as well, and if you can give me a thumbs up. This all helps on the account on my videos here, and if anybody cares to donate to my channel, that's great too. I'd appreciate that as well. So anything that would help. I do have the kits available, so you could get this blank plus the pattern here that I have and so on. Well, not this one, but one of them I have for the Lazuli bunting, and it comes with the eyes and the feet, the blank, and the pattern. So you can follow along with me, and you could do this with any of the videos I have out there. I have the cardinal, I have the wren, I have the finch, I have otters, a mother and baby. I have several different things. I'm trying to get a variety. I mainly stay with birds, but I've done all kinds of animals. I've done polar bears. I've done eagles in flight, one piece. I've done red-tailed hawk in flight, one piece. They're miniaturized now because you don't want to do anything monstrous. But if any of you want any of this, you can write to me through my email address, and that's Rauscher, Rauscher, Frank, Frank, 7@gmail.com, and I will send a catalog out to you, and you'll have the information that you may need to get this. I don't have in the catalog. Catalog isn't updated yet, but I'll put a pricing in there for you in the email so you know what this is going to cost you. But it lists all the other kits that I have available. I have the bits and so on, okay? The one bit that I used to use and I want to let you know about that one too, is the bullet shaped. I really like that one a lot. Finding out that the manufacturer went out of business, like everything else that happens these days, and he's not making them anymore. So I'm going to recommend using the flame tip diamond, and that will suffice for exactly what the bullet shape did. Okay, gives you the same effect and the whole thing, and the grit and everything else that I have is the same. So we still have a go-to for that bit as well. So I just want to let you know that, and they're available, and in the catalog you'll see that as well. So I hope you got something out of this one. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, pass the word on, and thank you again. And we'll see you on the next video, and we're marching on to getting this one in shape. Okay? Thank you.